Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Let's get started. Just allow me to have 2 minutes to share my screen. Okay. Okay, welcome to the Lab 1. My name is Ray Lee, and I used to be a master in USW, and currently I'm doing the research project with Professor Mahab. And you may find this link is useful because it is the link from last semester. So you can have a quick look of like what will be the tutorial looks like and what's the content we had before. So it's slightly different. For example, the assignment, if you are interested, we used to need to write the two different clients that can be communicate with each other, and they can also communicate with the server. Looks complicated, yeah. But luckily, we will have a easier one for this semester. So you may want to have a check of this link, like what's the lab we used to have, and we have the new stuff in this semester. So the labs will be slightly different and the assignment is totally different. But I think this one is pretty useful for you to understand the course. And we will have a new link for this one. I will send it to you after the tutorial. And you can also find some useful information in here in the folder review. It will include some final and midterm exam preparations. You can just have a look. And let's go to the Lab 1. So before we start to answer the question, there is one thing which is pretty important. is the VLab gateway because we are going to run lots of Linux commands in the computer. So we have to run it in the same environment. Otherwise, we will not get the same result. It will be the like network commands like nslookup or traceroute. If you are running in your own environment with your own IP address, it will be a different story. So we have to use the VNC to connect it to the UniWeb and then run the command. So there are two ways to do it. The first one is to just download the Tiger VNC and follow the steps. We have a link in here. I will send it in the chat. So this web page teach you how to like run the VNC softwares. Basically, it's pretty easy. Just download it and run it with this command. Yeah, as you can see at the end of it, you have a port number to change the resolution. And at the end of this one, you can also just simply click this link and then log in into the CSE lab. Is that okay? So make sure you use this one or the Tiger VNC to connect it to it. Otherwise, you will get different results. And here are the commands to install it in Linux. So before you do the labs, make sure you are connecting with the Tiger VNC or just use the web page to get it. And for the lab 1, we are going to play around with this kind of commands. If you have like ever played with it before, or do you have any experience with the Linux? So can we use VS Code? Uh, yes, for sure. But if you know what are you doing? So are you using VS Code for like the command or something to run the Linux command? You can definitely do this, but like another problem is sometimes we want to run the like software like Wireshark. So what do you do? So it's better to use VNC. But of course, if you like feel comfortable with it, then you can use the VS Code. For the lab 1, it's okay. Okay, so before we get started, let me show you some interesting statistics. I think you may not know a lot about this one, but I will show you. Just give me a sec. Like, please feel free to post any question to the meeting chat so I can answer as soon as possible. And this is one of the most useful page from week 1 to week 3. Just in case you don't know it, let's just have a 2 minutes look of it. So this is the outline of it, of this course. So you want to have a check of this one. There is a table in here, assessment. So you can quickly understand how this course works. So you are in the lab session right now, and we will have 20% of the marks distributed on the lab report. So you don't need to do much during the labs. Basically, just I will show you just how to do the labs, and uh, all you need to do is just make a report every week. And then this 20% is basically free if you attend the labs and follow the steps. And the assignment, I would say most of the people can get around 16% of it. So spend lots of time and then make sure you can get at least 16%. The midterm exam is the difficult part because I would say the average will be like 11 over 20. So this one is the hardest one comparing to the final exam. But the final exam will be like happy ending for everyone. I reckon like most of the people can get at least 75%. So once you have a check of this calculation of the final marks, you see the final mark, the performance in your final exam is required to be larger than 16, which means this course is a double pass. But don't worry too much, as I mentioned before, the final exam is not hard at all. So if you aim for HD, then congratulations, this course is not very hard to get a HD. But yeah, just pay attention to how we calculate the final score. And if you have any question, just feel free to ask. So there are two good news. The first one is we have an easier assignment for this semester. And the second one is the final exam is not very hard. So it's better to aim for HD from now. But you really need to spend lots of time to do the review for the midterm exam and final exam. Yeah, and that's it. And then you can find some schedule at the end of it, just the content we have for every week. As you can see, the midterm exam will be covered from week 1 to week 5. And usually we will have the midterm exam at week 7 in here. Week 6, we will have a rest. Then we will have a midterm exam at week 7. So you want to like spend a lot of time on the HTTP, DNS, and the TCP stuff and UDP stuff. So usually you are familiar with the HTTP and P2P stuff. So it will be easier for week 1 and 2. And then suddenly we come to week 4 and 5, the content is not that familiar. So just pay attention to this part, and this part will be the hardest part for this course. And it will be tested in the midterm exam, unfortunately. So you may want to pay more attention for the transport layer part. But don't worry, we will explain more details in the week 4 and week 5 tutorial. And I will also help you to do the preparation for the midterm exam. And I will share some useful information for it to make sure you have at least 10 out of 20. So that's it. And may I know, like, does anyone know how to run a Linux command? Yeah, if you are familiar with this kind of command, then we will just have a quick look of the question. Otherwise, we need to like make it slower. Yes, like in the Linux. So we are going to log into this one right now. So the first thing I do in the VLab is to run the terminal. Then we can get started. So make sure you are running your program in this environment when you're doing the report. Otherwise, it will have totally different result. And we can come to the, oh, sorry, this one. We can come to the exercise of this week. So oh yeah, can we use SSH instead of VNC? Yes, you can do it for this week. But there is another problem in exercise too, because we want you to run the browser as well. You can see here, so it will be a problem. So maybe still using the VNC. Okay, let's get started with this one. Oh, sorry. The exercise 1 is do the IP address checkup. So what is the IP address of this one? It's pretty straightforward. Just run the nslookup command with this one, with this website. Like, for example, this will show you the IP address of Google. So you can change this link to another website and it will show this kind of stuff. So might know what is this? This address and this address. Does anyone know, like, why this website, the same one, have two different address? Does anyone know this one? Yes, and you're right. the first one is the IPv4 and the second one is IPv6. Don't worry if you don't know it, because it will be covered in week 2. And to answer the exercise 1, it's not marked. So you don't need to put the exercise 1 in your report, just to let you know how to run the ns lookup command. So ns lookup. As you can see here, sometimes you will have 2 different IPv4 address. These two. The reason of it is maybe balancing, and you can do more research of this one. Sometimes, like for example, it have 2 different server. One is in the Sydney, another one is in Melbourne. So this, like, their user from both city can get the quick access. And what's the name of this one? You just run the same command for the second question, and it will show the name of it, the local host. So usually we use this IP address to test the host yourself. For example, if I don't have any internet connection, but I want to test my web application without connecting to any internet. So we can use this IP address to represent ourselves and send any kind of packets to it. It will send back to ourselves. So this one is usually for debugging and testing. And we come to the exercise 2. What should we do? So we have a lot of websites here, but I'm not going to try it one by one. Instead, I will show you how to do one of it, the Google one. So we are going to use the ping command. So still in the terminal here, we are going to type the ping command. Then you can see that we are sending ICMP packets to the IP address of google.com.au, and you will keep sending it until you press the Control C. So if you don't know how to stop it, you can just close the terminal or press the Control C. That's how we run the command. But what if we choose another website? Let's say yes.no. Yeah, we do have this website, right? Yes, you can see here, we have a response. And for example, what if I try a website that does not exist? For example, this one. We don't have this domain. Then you can see name of service not known in here, because we cannot get the we cannot finish the DNS query here, which means we cannot get the IP address of this domain to run the command. So you may have this question. You may encounter this one like in the list. So try to explain it. And sometimes you will find some strange one, like you can ping this one 8.8.8.8. This one, you can pin it, but you cannot visit it while your browser. For example, the Google one, we all know we can visit the Google server, right? You can open the uh, web application here. Make sure you are running it in the lab environment. For example, the google.com. You can visit this one, absolutely .au, without any issue. And you can also try to visit yes.no. Yeah, it's a blog. And 1.1.1.1, yeah, it's the Cloudflare. So make sure you run the command, then visit the website, because some of the website, for example, 8.8.8.8, as we see before, we can pin this IP address, but we cannot visit it and try to explain this. So that's the exercise 2. Put it into your report. What is non-authoritative answer? I think, which one are you talking about? Is it the exercise 1? Oh, or the previous command line? So don't worry about the non-authoritative answer. Yes. So I'm thinking you are running another command. Like you are running the dig command. But it doesn't show the unauthoritative answer here, but we can see in here it's non-authoritative. But don't worry too much about this one, and because we will cover this part in next week for the DNS query. But this week we will only focus on the IP stuff. Trace route. So in the exercise 3, what we need to do is to run this command. And then you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a list in here. So this means if you want to send a packet from our computer to this website, which is this IP address, then how many hops should we need? Like how many routers will we reach during the transmission? Like, can you see how many the router? But this one is a tricky question here. Like, can you answer the question right now? How many routers along the path? So usually people get the wrong answer in here when we do the marking. So this is the end of the line. and this is the first line. Okay, so create a poll. Okay, so let's end it. So yeah, you're so smart. It's 15. So why it's 15 instead of 16? Because the question is how many hops, right? How many routers? We are only focused on the routers. Uh, how do we annotate this one? Never mind. But you can see we are asking about the routers. And if you look at the end of it, this one is the destination. It's not a router. So 15. And if you check the first one, this one is not ourselves, right? So it is the routers. And like, what can you get from the traceroute command in here? So if we will send 60 bytes packets to the destination, and the packet will firstly come to here, come to this router, and this is the IP address, and this is the time, RTT. Yeah, and I think this table is pretty easy to understand, right? So just basically we will come to here and then come to here, then come to here, and finally come to the destination. So that's how this command works. So usually we use this command if we cannot connect to a website. For example, you cannot connect to Google, but you are pretty sure you are connected to the router. So you can run this command and see uh, what is the problem with your connection. And I think we have a similar one in the second question. This one. Run a trace route from your machine to the following destination. So you may have a question, what is diverge? What is diverge in here? I'm not going to run with this website, but I can show you what is a diverge. So google.com and bing.com. So we only focus on the starting part of it. As you can see, the first router is this one. And the first router for to being is the same. So we're going to the first router, and then we come to this one, 39.17. And then 39.17 is also the same. And 154, the same one. And the fourth line is 2420, the same one. And this one is also the same. So we go through the path, it's pretty much similar, right? And the 65050, and this one 15109. And in here for one, the eighth one, then you can see a slightly different here. After we leave this one, which is the ISP company of the UNSW, then we will go to a different routers at the 8th here. So this one is the diverge point, this one. So this one is the diverge point in this case scenario. So what you need to do is draw a graph. Like you can use the website draw.io, draw.io. Create a new diagram. You can say like draw this kind of diagram, so make it easy to understand what is the diverge point. For example, in here we are trying to visit the Google and Bing, and I can say this one they are jumping to two different ones. So I can say this one is a diverge point. So you can draw something like this from the trace route command, right? This one is the first row, second row, third row. So this one make it easier to understand it. And the last stuff of this link is basically the geo information of an IP address. So what do we want to do? You can also check IP address to geolocation. You can find lots of similar websites like this. So you can check what is the IP address of it. So please do not send any packet to my IP address. And you can see the Google DNS server is located in Los Angeles. And this is the way how we check the geolocation of it. So it's not very accurate, but the city will be correct. Like the suburb will be also correct. And if you want more information about it, you can run the command who is. Let me show you the who is command. Who is 8.8.8.8. You can also find some address information in here. Yeah, it's more precisely, isn't it? Because it's an registered IP address. So you can find more details of this IP address by running this command. Who is command. Oh, it's pretty long. This command. I think that's it. And the last one, this one we need to run the traceroute command reversely. So how can we do this? We use the speedtest.com. No, actually it's this one, AS13030. We use this website to do the reverse traceroute command. So just follow the steps, but we are running the traceroute command from the other side to our own computer. So you need to firstly understand what is your own IP address. So I will not show you how to get the IP address in here. So you need to do your own research. For example, in here, you don't know what is the IP address, right? So you need to type something here to get your IP address. And then you go to the website and put your IP address over there and see what's the answer. Okay, please let me know if you have any doubts. Okay, so we come to the last one. We we need to download the scripts. In here. There are two shell scripts in here. So you don't need to understand what do we have inside, but you need to understand how can we download this one and run it. So here we go. We just press the download button. And then another one, the plot. So we will have two different stuff in here. The first one is the run pane. And the second one is the plot. So we just follow the steps. We want to run the pane in here. Just make it slower. Just right click here and open terminal here. So you come to the directory, the current directory, and you want to run this script at first. So run, sh, which means you want to run the shell scripts and the name of it. And the format of it is to add the website name like flinders.edu.au. So you can see this one, not found, invalid argument. Let me check. We already created a few files. Let me see what is the problem. Okay, it's an empty file. So we have a problem when we run this one. Let me try again. upt.edu.ph. This might cause permission problem here. Yeah, we have a permission problem here. Then we can just simply copy the command in the lab stuff. You can see chmod, chmod. So if you have permission deny problem, just copy this one and type it. So this will give the read and write and create access to the script. And try to run this one. Okay. As you can see here, we are running the ping command, this one, and save it into this file. So what is the S and the C? Any idea? And the I. So what are we running right now? Any idea? Like if you want to understand what are we doing right now, then we have to know what is this command? The ping command. We have already tried it before, right? But what is the parameter? Do you have any idea? For example, the I, which means interval. So we send 1 second, one packet per second. The C, so which word stand for C? And which word stand for S? Yes, you are correct. The S is the packet size. And the C is the count, right? So we are sending 50 packets into here. Then as you can see, we are keep running it and the script is not stopping. So because we are sending 50 packets with 1 second interval, so it will take around 1 minute for each one. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So it will take around 7 minutes. So be patient on this command. And we have 3 different websites, which means you need to run like 3 times with different website. So it will take like 20 minutes and more than that. So do not stop the command while running it. Otherwise you need to recollect it. So let's just wait here and see what we need to do. So basically this one is pretty straightforward. Just run the script, then run another one to plot. Then we will have outputs. Then that's it. And answer the questions. Okay, let's wait here. And this one is a warning because the newest pin command is slightly different and we are using the old scripts, but it will not affect the output. So here are the steps. Oh, sorry. So the step 1 and step 2. But pay attention, we have a different website for our task. So do not use this website. And after this, we will have some like generated plots and files in the process. Then we need to do the calculation here. So we need to calculate the t value of it, which means the like minimum transmission time in theory. So the first stuff we need to figure out what is the physical distance on Google Map. For example, from here to Brisbane is 740 kilometers. Then we use the distance divided by the speed of light. Then we can say the like minimum transmission time from a university to Brisbane will require this much of time. And what is the real RTT in here is 18, right? So this one, where can you get 18? It's from the file we have generated in here. This one, you can check the file we have generated, or you can also check the plot we have in the folder. Let me see if we are done. Yeah, we have finished. Then we can run the plot command. With the okay, so we have some PDF. No, no, okay, I didn't run it carefully. CHMOD and the name is plot.sh. Give the permission first, and then link will be fine. Can we see any? No, still empty. And I need to remove it. It's not generated. Do you have any idea what happened here? Oh, so maybe we want to have a check if we do have something inside. Oh, that's the reason. Because this file is emptied. So we cannot get any stuff. You can see 0 bytes. It's empty stuff. So sorry, made a mistake here. Let me just delete it. But this one is not the empty file. So we want to run the plot command. with the upd.edu and blah blah blah. So we use the stock to represent everything behind this. So we have some output like this. So your outputs may be slightly different because we have the fluctuation in the internet, which is okay. But we will have similar like patterning here. So what is the minimum delay in this graph? Can you see the result? The scatter plot, the delay plot. It's basically 1 to 1, right? The minimum delay is 1 to 1. So if we go back to the slides, in here, the minimum RTT is 1 to 1. And what is the ratio? So you use the T divided by minimum RTT, then you get a ratio. So which means like a real world scenario is 7 times slower than the theory. So you put this table in your report and then fill in the blanks. Just be careful, the website is the wrong one. You need to use the correct website to do the report, which is in here, this free website. Okay, so how can we get the minimum RTT again? So firstly, we need to run the command, right? We need to run this kind of command to generate it, all the stuff. Just follow the steps. Then you will find something like this in the folder. Then you can just open it and see what is the minimum delay for all the packets. Obviously, it's 1 to 1, right? You can also check the app, like the file we have generated, like the average. I cannot open it while the browser. I'm not sure if you have the same problem, but you can use the cat command or the win command, upd.edu page avg. So you can see the average and the which one is the minimum. I think it's this one. So you can just use this value to do the calculation. So that's the minimum RTT. Okay, so just create this table, and this table will definitely help you to answer the question. Yeah, and the next step is to write a report, because the attendance is not compulsory, which means you don't need to come here every week, but I strongly recommend you to attend the labs, because we are going to explain what will be covered in the next week and what can we do for the labs. So it's pretty helpful for you to get the full marks in the labs. And it will also helpful for the like final exam or midterm exam preparation. We will have one help session before the midterm and final exam. And for the report, we just need to make it simple and clear. So please do not have very long screenshots that cover the whole pages. We don't need to have very huge screenshots. Just make it pretty simple. We only need to see the keyword and the key part if you think a screenshot is necessary. And just make it clear. and the format, just make it consistent. There is no requirement for the like what is the font and what is the size of it. That's okay. Just make it like clear to see. And another problem is we will have like very blurred images in the report. So make sure you open the PDF file before you do the submission, because sometimes we cannot see and it's not clear in the report, the pictures. And even some of the question, you have no idea how to do it, still answer the question and show what's your effort. So you can say, I do this kind of search and that kind of efforts, but still cannot solve it. But that's why I have tried, something like that. You can still get part of it, part of the points. So that's all the thing I want to mention here. Yes, I will share the PowerPoints and the recordings after this one. I think I have created the GitHub link, and then after today's tutorial, you can find it. Let me send it to you here. I will create a similar one. Just give me a sec. Okay, so I will send it to this link. So this is the GitHub link that we are using. I will put the recordings and put the other stuff I think is useful, like the slides and recording into here, but it's not up to date yet. I will do it after this tutorial. And also, like, once we have the assignment and the midterm recording, midterm exam, I will also upload some useful information that can help you to do the preparation. And you can refer to my other stuff, like we will have the online meeting and the contents will be covered, basically everything. And we'll review slides and other useful material. So for the assignment, don't worry if you are not good at programming. This course like is minimal required for the programming stuff, because we will show you how to do the programming like from week 5, maybe from week 4 this time. So as you can see, we will teach you step by step. So you will not be struggling too much about it by like how to get started. But lots of effort still needed. Maybe you need to spend like 20 or maybe more than these hours. But I can guarantee like to start the assignment is pretty easy, and we will make it like as simple as possible. And if you are interested, you can also check what do we have in last semester. And we have some recording links in here. So this course is very easy to get the HD if you spend lots of time. If you want to get HD, like it's not hard, but you really need to spend some time on it. And that's it for today. So I hope that you make it simple, because I don't want to make the tutorial very long. You still need to have some time to run this kind of stuff by yourself. So if you have any question, you can ask me during the tutorial. So you can do the report right now, and let's see how it goes. Any question, just let me know. And if you have other things to do, feel free to leave. and I hope to see you next week. And I will stay here until the end of it. So just feel free to come back and ask any questions. Okay, and all this stuff will be uploaded to the GitHub link, and see you.